So let's talk about how did the DoD save 100 years of time moving to DevSecOps and continuous authorization or continuous authority to operate, where we can accredit and authorize software to run in production multiple times a day, moving the bottleneck that used to take on average between 6 months to 3 years of time to be able to release a system in production. Definitely, the authority to operate process was stuck in time, outdated. When I assessed most of the DoD and Air Force and Space Force ATOs, I could find that most of the information was wrong. Just the basic information on egress port and protocol was completely outdated. So clearly, the decision of accepting the risk was based on the wrong information anyways. So it was definitely time to rethink the whole process and move from the current state of stuck in time paperwork that's accredited for 3 to 5 year cycle to a continuous real-time dashboard that gives you the real-time visibility of your risk, and more importantly on what to focus on to mitigate that risk and continue to improve your cyber posture and your compliance posture as well. So let's take a look at the traditional process and now the continuous authorization process that we created with the continuous ATO. So as you can see here, the traditional authorization process is very much very linear. You're going to look at the system development and testing. You're going to define your cyber controls. You're going to authorize the system, and you're going to operate the system. It doesn't allow for reassessing or continuously updating the system, adding new features, adding new capabilities. So it's very much stuck in time waterfall process. You can compare that to the new process we created, which is the continuous authorization approach, which has 3 pillars: the platform, the process, and the team. And we have 2 teams that builds the DevSecOps platform and the team that is writing the mission software using the DevSecOps platform. So let's take a look at some of those pillars and how we enable the accreditation of the software factory itself, the process of your CI/CD pipeline with the gates of that pipeline, and then, of course, how do we assess the teams and what do we require of the teams to know to be able to use a continuous ATO process to deliver incremental value multiple times a day in the hands of the warfighter in the Department of Defense. So like I said, we have 3 pillars. The first one is the platform. Of course, for teams in DoD using Platform 1, they inherit all this day one because it's already accredited by the enterprise, by DoD CIO, so it's something they can just use without having to recreate their own. But if they were short-sighted and decided to do that and create their own things in a vacuum, here are the things they would have to think about to be able to meet the requirement to become a platform that's accredited to deliver software multiple times a day. We created a reference design, the DoD Enterprise DevSecOps reference design, specific to Kubernetes, to be able to define what are the requirements of a platform to be able to be accredited and meet the requirement of a continuous ATO. So first, you need to use, of course, and be compliant with that reference design. You need to use artifacts coming from the hardened repository of containers of Iron Bank that's already using accredited software and Lego blocks. You want to be hosted in an environment that's already accredited, whether it's on premise, on the cloud, on the weapon system. The hosting, the infrastructure is already accredited as a traditional ATO in terms of the hardware risk and kind of the hosting piece there. And then you need to be able to run the cyber stack that we created with the Sidecar Container Security Stack, SCSS, which brings continuous monitoring and the ability to inject the Sidecar container to be able to centralize logs and telemetry and give us the proper insight and enforcement of zero trust with a service mesh. That gives you a platform that's blank and empty now, but that is accredited as a layer on top of an infrastructure that's already accredited. The second piece will be to authorize the process. So the process is your CI/CD pipeline that we talked about with the CI/CD pipeline gates video segment, where we effectively define what are the key gates to be able to get software through a software lifecycle process. So the first piece will be your threshold and your gates for the three pillars, the change management gates, the testing gates, and the cyber gates. And you should check the video on CI/CD pipeline gates if you want to learn more about the different gates and the thresholds. And of course, based on the criticality of your services and the data, you want to define the right thresholds to be able to protect your system. Of course, another piece is the runtime piece of this with the continuous monitoring piece, where we want to make sure that we have real-time visibility using AI, machine learning, continuous monitoring prevention capability to detect any kind of drift of behavior of the containers if it's starting to do something it's never done before, maybe running commands or opening ports or exfiltrating data to a different system. That will be detected through the machine learning detection capability there. So that gives you the process piece with your thresholds. That's what you would work with your authorizing official, your cyber team, to define all the thresholds. And as long as it's passing the threshold, the software should automatically move to the next gate and be seamless with no bottlenecks. Now, the third pillar would be on the team side with two teams, right? The team that is creating the DevSecOps platform and the team that is using the platform to build mission software, your development team on top of it. And so we define proper training and, of course, the course that they have to go through, including cyber deep dives on the importance of change management and things like that for teams to pay attention to be able to be effectively authorized to use the platform and the pipeline to build software. So all that is really training and culture related and is part of the self-learning and the certification process of people, including, of course, checking their clearances and their background checks to get access to the environment. That is the third pillar of the continuous ATO. So let's take a deeper look at the platform. We talked about the fact that if you use Platform One, you already inherit all these controls. But, as you can see, there are a few key pieces, including the notion of using infrastructure as code automation. So in the reference design, and I invite you to take a look at it, you can simply Google DoD Enterprise DevSecOps reference design, and you're going to find the Kubernetes reference design that tells you exactly what are the key principles and capabilities that you need to have to be able to get your platform accredited. Really, at the end of the day, this is designed also to separate pieces like the service mesh, your CI/CD pipeline, your logging stack, and your continuous monitoring stack, and is really seamlessly built on Platform One to be reusable across teams. So now if you keep digging into this platform work, you're going to see that, of course, we need to have an approval hosting environment, but we also need to have swappable layers of infrastructure, platform, CI/CD, and service mesh, so we can be nimble and not getting locked into a single cloud provider or Kubernetes distribution. And of course, we really push this concept of GitOps with infrastructure as code, configuration as code, and even now policy as code as well. With live dashboards, that gives you a real insight when it comes to the current state of your system in real time and not still manually updated documents. So we talked about the gates before, and if you want to look now at authorizing the process, you're going to see the concept of the data-driven risk management. And I invite you to go check out, again, the video we did on CI/CD pipeline gates, because we do a deep dive there. So I'm not going to go over that again. But again, it's about transparency, repeatability, and really having access to dashboards and defining thresholds that lets you either pass or fail the gate, so you can then address the issues before moving to the next stage of your staging and production environment. Now, on the team side, authorizing the team, we talked about the importance of learning. So, of course, we created a lot of this content and the ability to give an hour a day to our people to learn first, to catch up, and then to keep up. And so you're going to see here, dojos and workshops and self-learning hubs, and of course, be able to do the proper background checks and check clearances of the people doing the work, and making sure that people pay attention to change management and don't become complacent when it comes to approving someone else's change, and make sure that they understand the criticality of approving a change and really paying attention to that change to make sure we're not introducing malicious code into the stack. So effectively, we're shifting to this real-time understanding of risk. The traditional RMF process of DoD risk management framework was really designed to be static and stuck in time. But NIST has always enabled us to create this continuous authorization process. And so that's what we embraced by really moving to this live dashboard capability to see the real state of the system, the real ingress, egress, east-west traffic, all the components, all the containers, all the traffic, all the data being accessed in real time. And then, of course, the scanning results and the CVEs and your risk posture in terms of your continuous monitoring and the passing of your CI/CD pipeline gates in terms of your different source code repository of each microservice and each container. So now you know exactly which one is meeting the requirements and which one is not. So when you look at this continuous risk monitoring and more importantly, continuous risk determination, the goal is to really kind of get a good grasp of the risk that you approve, right? Effectively, authorization is all about accepting risk. You're always going to have some type of risk. The question is first, do you really understand it? Do you have the real information to make that a decision in a conscious manner with the right data and the right piece of information there that's not biased or wrong? And so that's the essential piece, is really having this live data feed and dashboards to make those decisions, not something stuck in time that's just plain wrong. And then, of course, we're moving from a snapshot in time to this automatically generated content and dashboard to show your risk posture in real time. And really, that's helping the teams of assessors and authorizing official to put in place a backlog to remedy some of the issues they see and prioritize what should be addressed first when it comes to the delta that's not being mitigated yet and something you want to pay attention to or prioritize to fix first, and maybe accredit the system with conditions that they have to address within a very quick period of time or within a well-defined schedule. Of course, the other benefit of using GitOps and infrastructure as code is it makes the process repeatable. And so you can reuse the accreditation and reuse kind of the understanding of the risk across teams and make it more nimble and more reusable. And so that's a massive enabler to ensure that we can scale faster and not have the compounded talent problem we're facing already become worse because of reinventing the wheel in vacuum. There you have it. Continuous authorization is the only way to be able to make your compliance and security a continuous process which truly reflects the state of your system in real time. A continuous dashboard with real-time visibility of your tech and your cyber debt instead of a snapshot stuck in time. That's the key to your velocity, and you can achieve it thanks to DevSecOps.